Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for tuning in and staying in there with all the patience as usual, and of course with expectations. It is a gracious day to be alive, and I am excited to be here once more to bring you very, very important updates on a revolution. Today, I shall be speaking particularly on the subject of school resumption and the information about the formation or the creation of the so-called Federal Republic of the Grassfield, which is a development coming from La République du Cameroon. It seems things will never, ever be the same in that country. And so again, thanks for tuning in. Go ahead and hit your share button for those of you who are watching on Facebook. For Ground Zero watching by means of ABC, I want to say a special thank you for your resilience and for your belief in this interim government to lead all of us through to Boya. Please, I will take a few minutes and have you populate this platform for those of you who are watching on Facebook before I come to you with the presentation. So please, for those who do not know, I am live yet. For those of you who are here, go ahead and hit that share button. Hit that share button so that we can quickly populate Facebook and I bring you the presentation. While you do that, let me turn on my monitor to know who exactly is watching here. All right, so please you go ahead and also let me know that the sound quality, the volume is good enough, not just good enough, but that the sound quality is perfect. So let me know, please. All right. All right. So again, let me know that the sound quality is good and you can hear me very, very clearly. Okay, and while you go ahead and you populate this Facebook platform, I will like to again go back to Ground Zero to thank everyone on Ground Zero, but most especially our restoration forces for enforcing the lockdown of was it yesterday? Yes, I think it was yesterday when our comrades in Kondengay were all taken to court. We learned of the success of that lockdown. And remember, even if we forget, even if we should forget to announce it, they are going back to court on the 23rd, which means there will be, now hear it from me, there will be another lockdown on the 23rd of July as our leaders, our comrades in Kondengay are taken back to the illegal, inconsequential military kangaroo tribunal in French Cameroon, precisely in Yaoundé. So take this home that on the 23rd of July, as they go back to court, we are hereby declaring another lockdown. Now I want to speak particularly to the people of Victoria. We have learned Victoria has not been observing the ghost towns and the lockdowns. The rest of Ambazonia will not fight this battle for Victoria to come and sit on top and enjoy. Every city, every town, and every village in Ambazonia must fight the fight, must defend homeland. And Victoria cannot be an exception. Victoria cannot be an exception. we are appealing to the people in Victoria. Every Monday and every declared lockdown, we hope that all of you will begin to observe it. If you don't observe it, it's a matter of time. The restoration forces will make sure you observe it, and it will not look good. It will absolutely not look good. So the 23rd, the 23rd of this month, we are having another lockdown in respect of Sisiko, Tasang Wilfred, Yambe, Elias, for Ngala, and for all of them who are in there in Kondenge. We have to keep on doing this in solidarity with them behind bars. We do so with the knowledge that their incarceration is absolutely illegal. They should not be in dungeons of French Cameroon. Thank you. I appreciate the pace at which the numbers are rising. Please, as you join, go ahead and hit your share button. The moment we hit 500 people, I'm not waiting for 1,000 people. The moment we hit 500 people, I will start this presentation proper. So please go ahead. You on Facebook, go ahead and you hit your share button. Go ahead, hit your share button. Let's populate the platform so I can come to you with the presentation. I like the speed at which these numbers are rising. And again, I'm speaking to you on two subjects today. Number one, the school resumption subject, and number two, the development from French Cameroon of Bamilekis creating their own state. I don't know whether they are referring to a state as in a nation or a state as a nation. That we don't know yet. But that is the development coming out of French Cameroon yesterday. I am going to do a little diagnosis of what we perceive that development to mean or to be. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I did a lot of work putting this together. Get on, hit your share button, 500 people, and I will start with the presentation. Let's do that as quickly as possible. You just joining now, hit your share button. Let it get out there in the social media, WhatsApp in particular. Then your Facebook groups, and of course Instagram and the rest. Let's do that. In the meantime, I see Ambazonia Stefan. I also see Hyson Dinga. I see Lebongwa Claude. Say, we are with you. Let me know what you are thinking in your mind. Actually, let me put it this way. I want to leave a comment on your screen. I want to know what you think about this school resumption thing. Are you for or against school resumption? Let me hear your mind. Let me get your opinion, please. So, please hit your share button. Let the numbers increase. Let the numbers rise so I can come to you. Fonya Sivanos. It says, in Contago, that is Lebialem dialect. That is Lebialem. I think I'm the only one and any other person from Lebialem here who understands this. In Contago means thank you. Thank you, sir. Edum Augustine. Okay. I see the Honorable Atta John. I see Alem Chris. I see also Redemption Song. Yeah, I always see you here. Colette, Flo, I lost the last name. Salai Diodone. I hope you're not the Salai guy, the gentleman putting on frivolous lawsuits out there in California. I hope you're not related to him. All right. Thank you for joining anyways. I see also Ransomer Natum. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm kind of losing my eyes here. I can't read that really good. I need some glasses. I don't have them right around me. So, but let me manage. I'm struggling to read. All right, Mume Ndaga, always on this platform. Ladies and gentlemen, we have less than 100 people to go for me to bring you the presentation. That is wonderful. Hit the number, hit the share button, please. Jane Amber Lords, she says, no schools. Okay, that's your opinion. I see also Fred Anyingwe, says Secretary Chris, I'm sorry, I miss it again because of my eyes. I can't read quickly enough. This tiny font size. I don't know what you are trying to say there. IT free, no school, Secretary Chris. Good, that's your opinion. I free Nestor. I want you to see me, Chris. Oh, I see you then. I found you. Wonderful. All right. Also, Anthony Bila. All right. I see also Prince J. K is watching. Louisa Mba, also John Paul. I am for school resumption. Okay, John Paul, that is great. That is your own opinion too. Auburn Moses, say keep sharing. Okay, keep sharing, ladies and gentlemen. We are almost there. I see also Leggin, is it Ashu? I think so. Sandra Max, Emil, Ahud, Emil, something like that. Thank you. Julius and G, conditions are not favorable for schools to resume. I guess the majority of the pool is saying that the timing is not good for schools resumption. Ladies and gentlemen, the technician is asking me to stay put while he makes a little change with the settings of the camera. You will realize that my image is chopping up on the screen. It's not smooth. So stay tuned. I will be right back. Nobody goes anywhere. In the space of 1 minute. 1 minute, I will be back on the screen. The technicians need to get the image right. You can see that it is cropping, it's chopping. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying put in there. I hope we now have a better image that is not flickering on the screen. So please, let's make up the numbers. Let's make up the numbers. I thought by now you would have made up the numbers up to 500, but I won't be taking a lot of your time. So please, go ahead, hit your share button. Hit your share button. Why? I bring you this presentation. I will have to do that right away. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you, Ground Zero. Now, before I do this presentation, let me take one quick announcement. One quick announcement before I bring you the presentation proper. This is very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. Tomorrow, I shall be here live to come to you with a very, very important announcement concerning ID cards and citizenship registration for Ambazonians. You will love this. Again, I shall be here tomorrow with very, very important announcement relating to citizenship registration for Ambazonians and the issuing of ID cards, Amba ID cards. I will be here tomorrow with that information. You can't miss it. You can't be away. So please, that will be tomorrow. I shall be live bringing you that information. Maybe I will spend a few minutes after that announcement to take a few questions from you. But again, tomorrow, same time, an announcement about Ambazonian citizenship registration and issuing of ID cards for Ambazonian citizens across the globe. Across the globe. So that is a great news. Ladies and gentlemen, I should not waste any time bringing this presentation to you. Again, I'm talking about two things. Number one, the school resumption subject, and number two, the development in French Cameroon, where we hear of the creation of one state called the Federal Republic of the Grass Field. I don't know how you name a country a grass field. You name a country, you give it just the name Grass Field. Well, good evening, fellow Ambazonians. That schools are still shut down in Ambazonia should not be misconstrued as this interim government's policy. If this IG had its way, all schools would have resumed since last academic year. At the beginning of last academic year, we declared unequivocally that we were for school resumption in as far as parents and schools could determine on their own that the security of the children and teachers wasn't at risk. Today, we hear people calling for school resumption in a manner that seems to suggest that the interim government is still preventing school resumption. We do not. In fact, our position from last year hasn't changed. We would rather our children are in the classroom than in the bushes and in refugee camps. The problem we face is that it is not within the powers of the interim government to guarantee their security should they return to the classroom. That power lies exclusively in the hands of French Cameroon. French Cameroon has tens of thousands of troops on our streets, and some even lodged in school premises too. The French Cameroon government has burnt down some of the schools, burnt down homes of parents whose children should return to school. French Cameroon soldiers have continued to break into homes, killing indiscriminately both the young and the old at sight. The streets are not safe, and neither are the schools themselves. In fact, you all are aware that from the last academic year, the security situation in all, or let me say the insecurity situation in all of Ambazonia has only gotten more dire. More people, including children, are increasingly killed by French Cameroon soldiers by the day than happened last year. Under the circumstances, the interim government is not able to say categorically that children should go back to school without the ability to guarantee security for them. And we do not think that any parent seeing the prevailing situation wants to do so either. There is a hike in indiscriminate shootings by French Cameroon terrorist soldiers. The interim government has made repeated appeals to the international community, the United Nations and UNESCO in particular, to persuade them to facilitate an atmosphere that can get our children back to school. The interim government has appealed to the United Nations to make the entire territory of Ambazonia a buffered zone and have La République du Cameroon soldiers pull out. Our restoration forces go on recess. United Nations forces provide security, and we provide our shovel-ready curriculum and UNESCO to sponsor education until the time negotiations are finalized. UNESCO is in the record as having done this in other war-torn countries. We are very much ready to cooperate with UNESCO to see our schools once more reopen for learning. This is the only option that guarantees the safety and security of our children going back to the classroom. Our curriculum is shovel ready, and this is very, very important because it doesn't make any sense for our children to go back to school learning under the same curriculum that we have rejected and which got us where we are in the first place. The change that we seek must come. We are not accepting half measures. This is our stance as far as school resumption is concerned. We call upon every concerned group to join us. Let us all put the pressure on the United Nations and UNESCO to consider this alternative. We can guarantee that schools will resume the very next day that the United Nations works out security measures that protect our children as they go to school. Fellow Ambazonians, having said this, I must sound this word of caution to all of you out there. There is a calculated ploy to use some of our brothers in Kondenge to knowingly or unknowingly abort this revolution. Let us be very discerning and skeptical of pronouncements and advocacy originating from Kondenge or any prison in that matter in French Cameroon. It beats my imagination that people sit behind bars, very, very ignorant of exactly what goes on outside here, but make declarations that have the ability to scuttle the entire struggle. We should refuse to listen to or take any instructions from whosoever behind bars. If people behind bars are empowered to make decisions for this struggle, as we see in newspaper headlines of some calling for school resumption, then Don't be surprised if you wake up one morning and learn through newspaper headlines that same people have reached a settlement for the revolution, all by themselves and from behind bars. This is not what we want. We still have utmost respect for our leaders and comrades in jails. But we believe very strongly, very strongly that they will serve their revolution better if they can just sit back and follow our lead. Let us take this counsel to them. Does this mean we shun their advice and constructive suggestions? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What we don't want are proclamations, statements, and announcements that are made without any consultations with the interim government. On the Bamileke Republic subject, fellow Ambazonians, yesterday, Bamilekes of the western region of French Cameroon emerged with a declaration proclaiming themselves a sovereign state from French Cameroon, like in the order of Ambazonia or the southern Cameroons. Like in our case, where we seek international mediation that should lead to the full restoration of our sovereignty. The Federal Republic of the Grassfield, as the Bamilekes want their own state to be called, is putting on a demand to be seated alongside us on the table or be part of the anticipated negotiations that the Swiss government has opted to facilitate for our case. The details of what this Bamileke state is all about are still very sketchy, but very devious and suspicious. We smell a rat in what appears like a ploy by French Cameroon and Francophones to balkanize and internalize a conflict that most of the world agrees is purely Southern Cameroon's focus. The interim government of Ambazonia wishes to make a number of clarifications here to supporters and promoters of that initiative. The regime in French Cameroon should take note also. 1. Why Southern Cameroonians have been in this self-determination struggle for 57 years and counting. Francophones, mainly of the Bamileke extraction, who now demand a state of their own, only just came in. They only just got into this. Why Ambazonians' motivation is justifiable and emerged as a result of grave injustice established in the incomplete decolonization process for which we hold the British government and the United Nations responsible. And of course, years of suppression, assimilation, and marginalization. The Bamilekes uprising emerged solely out of the frustration of one of theirs being cheated at an election they believe he won. This group cannot be taken seriously. If anything, they should be seen as hawkers and potential spoilers of our quest for nationhood. Based on this, based on the wide gap between the quest by Ambazonians and Bamilekes, we can rightly say theirs is a coordinated effort with the main goal of watering down our pursuit for independence. We see the hand of French Cameroon in this. We should therefore not be surprised if in the next 2 weeks or so, this new phenomenon repeats itself in the southern or northern Cameroons with Muslims, for example, declaring their own independent state and asking, of course, to be seated also at the negotiation table. This interim government is not ignorant of the game plan that French Cameroon is about hatching in anticipation of the negotiation process aimed at scuttling any agenda centered on independence for the Southern Cameroons. We note that it's not even 3 weeks since our representatives rose from the preliminary talks in Switzerland. The Swiss government was left with an assignment to reach out to French Cameroon authorities to solicit their consent and participation in the negotiations. As of today, French Cameroon is yet to make a public statement, either in the affirmative or negative, in regards to participation in the negotiations. They are buying time scheming and creating mushroom groups like this one of the Grassfield Republic, so they too can insist on coming to table with the sole agenda of making the conflict a domestic one, a domestic conflict. What they are busy doing is maneuvering how to approach the negotiations from an internal crisis perspective. That is exactly the premise on which the Bamileke Grassfield state is coming from. French Cameroon hopes to tell the facilitators and the international community that, look, this demand for independence from Southern Cameroonians isn't just peculiar to Anglophones, as they would like to call it. They will say, look, this is an internal crisis. Look at the Bamilekes. Look at the Hausas in the north. Look at those in the east. Look at the people in the east. They too, La Republic will say, want equitable development, which is the problem, they will say. The interim government wants the Bamilekes to rest assured. As French Cameroon citizens, they have the right for justice in an election they believe their son won. And if in doing so they believe declaring themselves a state is a logical thing to do, they have that right too, so far as they are not doing so to scuttle what is a legitimate struggle for Ambazonians. Southern Cameroonians are not, again, we are not, in this conflict because of an election. We do not demand for our own country because of an election. Indeed, if that were the case, we should have gone to war right after John Frundi was denied victory in 1992. We didn't do that. We are in this conflict because successive regimes in French Cameroon and Francophones at large have treated us like foreigners. They have treated us like a conquered people. As we give our all, as we give our children's lives, as we give our children's education, as we sacrifice our own life investments, our towns, our villages for this war, may we never forget the reason for which we are fighting. We were a country, a nation, when the decolonization process burst and placed us in the hands of people we thought were brothers, French Cameroon. Ever heard of the saying, what God has put asunder, let no man put together? Our union with French Cameroon was never meant to be, and it never was. It shall never be. Bamilekes want to equate their election crisis to our independent quest or struggle? Really? Have they forgotten we refused to take part in their elections because we didn't consider ourselves citizens of their country? Invoking Maurice Kamto to feature in the perceived negotiations is a cavalier way of belittling our demand for restoration. We send this message plain and clear to the Swiss government, the European Union, the US government, the Canadian government, the AU, that they should rest assured that we shall not be party to any discussion or negotiations that sit Maurice Kamto on the same table, side by side with Ambazonian negotiators. That will never happen. Ambazonians shall walk out if Kamto or any representative of his movement shows up in those talks. The talks are about the future. The talks are not about the future of Cameroon. They are about the future of the southern Cameroons. Francophones can wait and resolve their internal problems after the negotiations. We cannot reiterate this point enough to Ambazonians. Please, stay away from anything having to do with bars, Brigade Anti-Sardinat. They are not our friends. They are our fools. They are the same people who only yesterday, donated billions of francs CFA and gave to Paul Biya to use in fighting us. If we shun federalists among us, tell me the reason why you think the Sardinats are any better. We should not give ourselves and time to be used for their own ends. They were the ones who called us Biafras yesterday. They were the ones who called us Anglo fools. And they were the ones who called us second-class citizens. How can we forget that so soon? These are the same people that our forefathers rescued from annihilation in the hands of Ahijo during the days of Maquisard or the Maquisard Wars. Our parents took them in, gave them shelter, gave them lands. Our parents gave them wives and gave them husbands too. Their show of gratitude throughout these 57 years has been a show of ingratitude and mockery. Our families, towns, and villages were razed, and they did not come to our help. We must let them fight their own fight while we fight our own. This nonsense where southern Cameroonians fight and the rest of French Cameroon reap the benefits has to come to an end. We fought for the GCE board. They reformed the entire national exam system across the country. When we protested the educational system, they created universities across all of their country. When we protested the legal system, they attempted reform of the whole national system, legal system. When we formed the SDF, they legalized multipartism. They have never given us what we want on merit. This is the moment and the generation that must put an end to this injustice. We say no to any negotiations where Maurice Kamto and his groups or so-called political opposition in French Cameroon is brought to table. Ambazonians love Kamto, but none of us have died for him. Our families have not been killed for Kamto, nor his election. Our families are not scattered in the bushes and in refugee camps for Kamto. Our homes have not been razed because of Kamto. And above all, our territory isn't under occupation because we rose up for Maurice Kamto, not at all. They didn't declare war on us either because we rose up for Maurice Kamto. We did not. We are in this war because we can't stand their colonialism and subjugation anymore. Fellow Ambazonians, the Republic is in a very tight corner as I speak to you today. They are well aware that they will lose going to any negotiation table. They dread sitting on that table side by side with us and seeing us emerge as a sovereign nation. For this reason, they are not the least interested in any talks. Their strategy is to descend on our towns, our villages, and to decimate our young men and women and raise down anything standing. They believe this strategy will cause our people to develop the element of fatigue and disillusionment and then give up. Our restoration forces will surrender, they hope, and then they will proclaim victory and then unilaterally declare an end to the war. And of course, the international community will give up and we go back to square one. Ladies and gentlemen, they will then prescribe their kind of decentralization and impose it upon us. The northern zone will become part of Grassfield Republic, and the southern zone becomes, of course, part of the Littoral Republic. There will be a massive campaign to have Francophones move and settle in our territory and buy all our lands for themselves. And in the next 20 years, our distinct cultural identity would have been totally wiped out. We cannot now allow this to happen. We have gone too far. If we allow this to happen, they will give us shit to eat. If we allow French Cameroon to reconquer us, we shall never again dare to raise our voice in that country. We shall forever remain second-class citizens in our own land of birth. Let's not forget, they say in this life, opportunity comes but once. Fellow Ambazonians, an opportunity knocks at our doors today. We cannot let it go. We must grab it and run with it. Grabbing it means equipping our forces to give French Cameroon a good fight for their money. If we do not give French Cameroon a good fight for their money, we do not decimate their occupational forces, if we do not strangulate their economy, if we do not bring down more window dressing structures like Sonara, CDC, Pamol, Timber, Rubber, name the rest, they will never get to the negotiation table. We have to match fire for fire, unleash mayhem on them. It is called self-defense. The French Cameroon army has no morale to fight and win this war, ladies and gentlemen. Like us, they didn't want it. They know they are fighting an unjust war, a war they know they cannot win. Let us therefore seize advantage of it and force French Cameroon to the table by means of military and economic strangulation. Let us put aside petty differences and disagreements amongst ourselves and contribute to equip our restoration forces with what it would take for them to crush French Cameroon occupational soldiers. We have 13 counties. You cannot say you don't know where to make your donation. You know where to find your county or your local government members. Please, I'm appealing to you, please. locate your county or your local government area and begin your regular contributions. Get to the interim government citizenship levy website and re-enroll. For those of you who have checked out, re-enroll, make your levies. The time is now to force French Cameroon to the table. We cannot allow them to continue the massacre. Let's cut it short and let's begin now. Now. Let's begin now. Short live the revolution. Long live the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, thanks for tuning in.